All right, so ready to dive into something a little different this time.
Absolutely. Always up for a literary adventure.
This time we're exploring We'll Prescribe You a Cat by Syou Ishida.
The title alone, all right.
Intriguing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it really sets the tone for the whole novel.
Definitely.
Hmm.
So we find ourselves in Kyoto, not just the Kyoto of temples and tea ceremonies, though.
No, Ishida takes us beyond those postcard scenes.
Exactly. It's like we're getting a glimpse beneath the surface.
Precisely. He reveals the city's hidden anxieties, the pressures that simmer beneath its serene facade.
And how those anxieties mirror the internal struggles of the characters.
Exactly. Take the way he describes the clinic's address, for instance. East of Takiyakushi Street, south of Tomonokoji Street. It's so cryptic.
It's like a secret code.
Yes. And only those who truly know Kyoto can decipher it. It reminds me of those winding alleys and hidden gardens you find tucked away in the city. Like you could walk past them 100 times and never even notice them.
And that sense of mystery, of things being hidden in plain sight, it permeates the entire novel.
It's like Kyoto itself becomes a character.
Absolutely. It's a silent character, shaping the narrative, mirroring the character's own journeys of self-discovery.
I love how you put that, a silent character, because it's not just a backdrop, is it?
Not at all. Remember Shuta, our first protagonist? He's drowning in work stress, desperately searching for a way out. And his physical journey, the way he stumbles through those maze-like streets searching for the clinic.
It mirrors his internal struggle perfectly.
Right. He's lost in the city, just as he's lost in his own life. And then there's the clinic itself, tucked away in an alley, almost impossible to find unless you know exactly where to look.
Shrouded in mystery, just like the city itself. And the fact that it doesn't have an online presence, I mean, in this day and age, it's almost unheard of.
It adds to the intrigue, doesn't it? This feeling of exclusivity, of being on the outside looking in.
And that's a feeling that many of the characters grapple with, even before they step foot in the clinic. This sense of being lost, of searching for something they can't quite name.
And in that sense, Kyoto becomes more than just a setting. It becomes a reflection of their own internal landscapes.
It's fascinating how this clinic, tucked away in the heart of Kyoto, offers such an unconventional solution. A cat. Not your typical therapy session, right?
Definitely not. But that's part of the novel's charm, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It reminds me of those times you stumble upon a hidden gem in a place you thought you knew like the back of your hand.
Precisely. It's that element of surprise, the way the novel disrupts our expectations. Ishida seems to be saying that sometimes the most profound changes come from the most unexpected places.
And in this case, it's a furry, four-legged prescription. But what I find interesting is that the cats don't magically solve the character's problems. They're not like these little vessels of instant wisdom.
No, not at all. Take Shuta, for example. He's at his wit's end with work stress, can't sleep, can't even remember what it feels like to relax, and then enters B, this little ball of feline energy.
And you'd think, oh, the cat's going to teach him how to chill out, right?
Exactly. But it's not that simple, because B doesn't change Shuta's boss, Mr. Emoto, who embodies that relentless workaholic mentality so many of us can relate to.
It's true, and that's what makes it so realistic. There's no magic wand solution, but there is a subtle shift.
Yes. It's like B's presence, her need for care, it offers Shuta a different rhythm, a counterpoint to the constant pressure of work.
It forces him to slow down, even if it's just to refill a food bowl or watch a cat nap.
Exactly. And in those moments, he starts to notice things he hadn't before, the way the light filters through the window, the quiet hum of the refrigerator.
It's like the cat is giving him permission to be present, to exist outside the demands of his job.
Precisely. And it's not just Shuta, wouldn't you say? Look at Koga, dealing with a completely different kind of work stress, the pressure to constantly be on, to match his boss's over-the-top enthusiasm. And yet he finds solace in Margot, his cat, this quiet, dignified presence.
It's almost like Ishida is creating a parallel there. Two different characters, two very different stressors, yet they both find a sense of peace, of grounding, in their feline companions.
And the cats themselves, they mirror their owners' personalities in a way. Margot, with her quiet grace, reflects Koga's own desire for a little peace and quiet.
It's amazing how these animals, without saying a word, can reflect our deepest needs and desires. And then you have Tomoka, who's practically allergic to chaos.
Oh, absolutely. She's so tightly wound, so obsessed with order and control.
I felt my own anxiety levels rising just reading about her daily routine.
And into this perfectly structured life walks Tank. A giant, goofy ragdoll cat. Talk about a recipe for disaster.
Right. You'd think he'd send her over the edge. But instead, something fascinating happens. It's not that Tank tries to change her, not directly. He simply exists, a furry embodiment of a completely different way of being.
And through him, Tomoka starts to loosen her grip just a little. She allows a little bit of chaos, a little bit of Tank, into her perfectly ordered world.
And in those subtle shifts, those unexpected moments of connection, we see the true magic of the novel unfold.
And it's not just about individual transformation either. The cats, they have this ripple effect influencing the characters' relationships as well.
Like how Margot, who initially causes tension in Koga's family, ends up bringing them closer together. Or how Shuta, who felt so isolated, finds a sense of camaraderie with his coworkers, all thanks to Bee.
It's like the cats are these little furry catalysts, prompting connections, mending broken bridges, and reminding us of the power of empathy and understanding.
It strikes me that these cats, they're not just offering companionship. It's like they're these furry little guides, leading the characters to a deeper understanding of themselves.
It's like they're peeling back those layers we were talking about, revealing hidden truths.
Exactly. And not just about the characters, but about the nature of healing itself.
What I find fascinating is how Ishida connects this idea of unveiling to Kyoto itself.
Oh, I see what you mean. Like, just as the city reveals its secrets to those who take the time to explore, the cats guide the characters on their own inward journeys.
Precisely. It's about slowing down, paying attention, being open to the unexpected.
It's like the cats are saying, the answers you seek, they're not out there in the noise and chaos, but within the quiet moments, the purrs of contentment. Something like that, anyway.
Beautifully put, it's a powerful message, especially in a world that often prioritizes busyness over being present. And, we'll prescribe you a cat doesn't offer easy answers. Take Megumi's story, for instance.
Oh, Mogumi, yes.
Yeah.
She adds another layer to this whole idea of hidden depths.
She does, doesn't she? Returning to the clinic after all those years, seeking to make amends for that lost kitten.
And ending up with a cat that looks exactly like the one she lost. I mean, come on, that has to be more than just a coincidence, right?
It's certainly a possibility the novel seems to suggest.
Right, but it never explicitly confirms it.
Exactly, and that ambiguity is crucial. It's like Ishida is inviting us to embrace the unknown.
To accept that some things lie beyond our understanding.
Precisely. And that's where the real magic of the novel resides, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's in those unanswered questions, those mysteries that linger long after you finish the last page. And speaking of mysteries, what about Dr. Kokoro? He's this enigmatic figure throughout the entire book.
Isn't he, though? He seems to understand these characters better than they understand themselves.
Right. But his methods are so unconventional, it makes you wonder, is he just a guide? Or is there something more at play?
He's like a representation of the novel itself, wouldn't you say? Full of mystery, prompting more questions than answers.
And maybe that's the point. Maybe some things are meant to remain a mystery. Just like those hidden alleyways of Kyoto or the true depths of the human heart. We'll prescribe you a cat. Reminds us that life is full of unexpected turns, of hidden beauty waiting to be discovered. So keep your eyes open, your mind's curious, and maybe, just maybe, you'll find your own furry guide waiting to lead you on a journey of self-discovery.